All right, it is our final show of the month of December and of the fall semester, everybody. We welcome you in. What a year it has been so far. We can't wait to celebrate with all of you one more time ahead of the Christmas break. Welcome in, everyone, to the United Podcast, a show that talks all things Gannon athletics, from the student-athlete experiences to interviews with coaches, student-athletes, and personnel, and, of course, just talking everything we love about the Gannon Golden Knights on a week-in, week-out basis. We're here, as we've been all December, here at the UPick6 Tap House on the corner of 4th and State. Not necessarily a beautiful night. Weather-wise, we've had some snow. Of course, the weather continues to get colder and snowier, but all that means is that the excitement around athletics continues to ratchet up as we end the first third of the calendar season and get ready for what will be the middle portion, and just as exciting of a portion, if not even that much more exciting than what we had in the fall. Welcome in, everybody. I'm Isaac Petcash. We have one more show, like we said, until we get to the winter break. This will be our last show before January, but we're excited because tonight we got a busy show for you in store, including a one-on-one with our athletic director, Meghan Morphy, as we show you what we have in store for this evening on this show. In just a second, we're going to hear from volleyball after their season, unfortunately coming to a close tonight, but an incredible year nonetheless. We'll hear from head coach Matt Darling and others as we reflect on a great year of volleyball and really the fall sports season, which officially now comes to an end. So we'll check in with the Elite Eight. We'll also have the bulk of our podcast centered around the conversation with athletic director Meghan Morphy, recapping the fall, the great success that was, and looking ahead towards the winter and what we can expect from that, with so many of our programs already off to a great start this winter. Of course, our top 5 plays of the week, the final time before we end the month of December, at least in terms of our shows. All that coming up here on the United Podcast. Let's go ahead and start with our dish of the day, the final one here for the month of December at the UPick6 Tap House. We got a good one to close things out. Here's our dish of the day. Everybody loves a little slider action, especially on a game day, and what better than the burger sliders to represent our dish of the day today? It's exactly what you would expect, classic burger, but you get 3 of them on a plate, and just a great way to kick off a great night. Thursday night, Friday night, maybe you're going to a Gannon event, maybe you're going to another game around the area, or just a night out on the town. The burger sliders are the perfect item for you. You can pick one up today at the UPick6 Tap House, of course, while supplies last. It's one of the new items on the menu, part of a new menu that the Tap House has been debuting in the last couple of weeks. Get them today. They are delicious, no doubt about it. The burger sliders are dish of the day here on December 11th on this Thursday here inside the UPick6 Tap House. Well, it's been an incredible fall season, and a fall season that's seen historic moments, from Emily Bowers getting to nationals for the first time for any female cross-country runner ever, to men's soccer winning their first ever PSAC championship title. And today, the fall sports season officially, in an unfortunate situation, coming to an end. Volleyball with another amazing year under head coach Matt Darling, and what was their 16th consecutive appearance in the NCAA tournament, seeing their season coming to an end tonight against Concordia St. Paul in the NCAA Elite Eight in South Dakota. This Golden Knight team fought till the very end, taking a set off of the number 2 overall seed in the nation and battling in the other sets in what was ultimately an effort that fell just short. But for Matt Darling and the Golden Knights, 27 wins, another Atlantic Region title, and just so much to be proud of with a team that has been so young and has worked their way early in the year to where they are today. It's just a wonderful feat that we see seemingly year in, year out, and it's something we don't take for granted, but something we've loved to get to witness. We just heard Matt Darling, I should say, and a couple of student athletes just stepped to the podium, Bangasu Arslan and Casey Smith, the 2 veterans on this team. Speaking after the game, here's instant post-game reaction as the season comes to a close for volleyball.
Thank you. Thanks to everybody here for putting on a great tournament. Regarding the match, I don't have a lot to say other than Concordia was terrific. They controlled everything basically from start to finish, and so congratulations to them on moving on. I think it's very well deserved. On our side, it was just it was hard for us to get going. We struggled kind of in every area. We didn't pass well enough to use the middles that we probably needed to do in order to be a little bit more efficient on offense. Had some courageous efforts by some kids. We played hard. I was really the highlight of the night for us. Obviously, was coming back and showing some real courage and some fight in the second set, and actually winning that set. I think that's something that we'll maybe be able to build on. I'm not really finding a silver lining kind of coach. We lost. We're not moving on. We're done. Concordia is moving on. They won. So that's the name of the game. If I zoom out from the match itself to the season, I have a lot more better things to say, but maybe there'll be a question about that later.
Thanks, Coach. We'll open it up for questions.
Coach, first set, obviously 10 points. Not the expectation we wanted, but then you guys stormed back to win the second set. Talk to me about what was said in that huddle that kind of rallied you guys to win the set.
Well, I mean, it had a lot to do with just, this is a moment that will define us. I mean, are we the kind of team that gets stomped when we're down, or do we try to fight our way back up from that? And so I was very, very happy with that response, honestly. I thought it was a real feather in a cap of the season that we came back. But it was, again, like so many other things, very much team, I think, led. I think that I said a couple things, and then I think they got in there and had a conversation about it, and much better performance, obviously, in the second set.
Sue, you've been a part of the Gannon volleyball program for 4 years now. I just got word that you are now ranked second in career assists at Gannon, and also you were 5 away from having the season assist record. Talk to me about what it's been like playing in a Golden Knight jersey.
It's always been a pleasure, I would say. Since I got here, everybody was so welcoming, and I didn't do that many assists just by myself. Like, my teammates helped me a lot. I think especially this year we were blending a lot, and I'm gonna miss every single person on the team.
Casey, this is obviously your first year with Gannon, and we talked about your experience yesterday. Now to cap off your volleyball career, talk to me about what it's meant for you to play here.
Being here has just been a blessing. That's honestly the only word I can think of for it. The girls are all my best friends. They healed a part of my heart they didn't even know they were doing. Like, I love being in the gym with them, even when you make us do ball setter, ball hitter. It sucks, but it's so fun because the girls they make it what it is.
Thanks, Sue. You came to Erie, Pennsylvania from Turkey a handful of years ago, to a city that you probably didn't know a lot about, to a team, coaches that you didn't know a lot about. Can you talk about what being a Gannon Golden Knight means to you?
That's a tough question because it means a lot to me. I would say being away from home is hard, obviously, but I found my new home here. Everybody was super friendly, and everybody tried to help me out with everything. I would say, like, being a Golden Knight is like having a family, even like you're across from the world.
Hard to see that press conference without getting emotional of some kind. And it's been just an incredible honor to get to watch this volleyball team and what they've been able to do. Of course, Bangasu Arslan, who you just heard from, will go down in the record books as one of the best, if not the best setter in Gannon Golden Knights history, and just an incredible team player and leader for Gannon. And Casey Smith coming in from Edinburgh, a player who knew this area well. She grew up in Meadville, went to Villa Maria Academy, played at Edinburgh for a few years, and then comes to Gannon as a graduate transfer and has an really awesome mark for Gannon this season, what she was able to do. And a tough way to end the year, no doubt. You would obviously love to win your last game of the season. That's what everyone would love to do. But Coach Darling, regardless of the roster that he has, each and every single year, he brings the most out of his student athletes. And they are always, if not at this point, right there at this point or further. And we congratulate volleyball for just an amazing run to the Elite Eight and the final fall team left standing for the Golden Knights. Speaking of Golden Knight and great accolades, these three were just named recently this week to the AVCA Women's Volleyball All-Region First Team, as well as All-American Honorable Mentions. Lauren Atwell, Sydney Wake, and Bangasu Arslan, who we just heard from, all named All-American Honorable Mentions and First Team All-Region. and they deserve it in such a great way. These three have been huge leaders. Lauren and Sydney juniors, Bangasu Arslan, the lone senior on this team with Casey Smith, the grad student. Congratulations again to volleyball for just an unbelievable run and a great season, and one that we will not forget for lots of time to come. Hey, other success stories that we want to give and some other award recognitions that we want to give out as well for fall sports. The awards were coming out fast and furious this week, so if you missed them, it's understandable. There are a lot that came out at once. How about Ella Vidal being named to the United Soccer Coaches Association second team All-American? That just came out today. Congratulations to Ella. And on the men's side, how about Sverre Orton? This guy, I think, racks up every award possible in the book for men's college soccer in Division II. Earlier this week was just named the D2CCA All-American Player of the Year, led D2 in goals with 17, 46 points, and the Norwegian native putting up a career that will be rivaled by few in Gannon men's soccer history. Congratulations to Sevi. There will be more accolades to come for him for sure in the coming weeks, but congrats to Sevi on his wonderful accomplishment. More awards and rankings for you as we roll through the show. Updates for rankings with the basketballs. Men's basketball up to number 15 as they sit 6-1 on the season this week. Women's basketball is back into the top 5 at number 5 as they are sitting at 9-1 on the season. Both teams will be back in action on Tuesday, although men's basketball gets a big home game against Saginaw Valley State coming up on Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock. And men's wrestling is up to number 4 in the latest rankings of the open mat. This is the week of December 9th. Jerry Echeverria and that crew back in action this upcoming weekend in a really big tournament to the west. And, of course, back in this area for a December 19th duel against Edinburgh. So men's wrestling really involved as well as they always are. And the winter sports, as we're going to hear from Meghan Morphy in just a moment, going to continue that momentum of the fall that we just saw come to an end officially today. So let's show you what's on tap for this weekend as we get ready for the final week, full week, I should say, before we get ready for the Christmas break. Men's and women's basketball home on Tuesday. It's not on this sheet, but Kutztown, men's and women's basketball, will host on Tuesday at 3 and 5. So come out and support your Golden Knights. The men back home for the second time this season. Big game against Saginaw Valley State coming up Saturday at 3 o'clock. Saginaw Valley State just defeated a ranked team recently in Easton Bozzoli's season. Men's and women's wrestling back in action as well. Saturday and Sunday for the men in Indianapolis at the Midwest Classic. I think Tom Boyd said of the top 25 teams, 21 of them are going to be there. So lots of great competition, and Tom Boyd's squad continuing great success early in the season. Can't wait to see what they accomplish over the 48-hour span. Women's wrestling, they've been off to a great start as well under Aaron Vandiver's squad. They'll take on several other squads at the North Central Open in Naperville, Illinois. That happening on Sunday. So the wrestling team's getting their mid-season form on as we get ready to hit the Christmas break. All right, so the fall season now officially has come to an end. We reminisce on so many of the great moments. We've talked about so many of them on this podcast. And now as we shift gears from fall to winter, the momentum doesn't stop. In fact, it surges in a way that not many other schools can say does, with basketballs and swimmings and wrestlings, water polo, cheer and dance, and acrobatics and tumbling on the horizon as well, ready to do some great things. And earlier this week, I had a chance to sit down with Athletic Director Meghan Morphy. We reminisced on the fall, some of the great moments, and what we can expect ahead for the winter, plus some great academic achievements as well. Here's a bit of a fall recap and look ahead to the winter months with our Director of Athletics, Meghan Morphy. Fall season is almost over. It's not quite over. It feels like it could really go into January, but that's the thing we love about Gannon Athletics and the Gannon Golden Knights. Meghan Morphy, our Director of Athletics, joining us. And what, Meghan, for you has been a crazy, but I'm sure fun first full season as athletic director. Take us through what that's been like.
Yeah, as you said, it's been a really great start to the year for all of our teams. It has been crazy, as you said, but as I've said all along, I feel incredibly fortunate to be in this role. My colleagues, many of whom I've worked with for over a decade, we have such an incredible group of coaches here. Really excited about the administrative team that we assembled over the summer. Some new faces, some old faces, but I think, and you've been part of that, us all really getting to know each other and working well together, really focusing on how we can provide the best student athlete experience for our students. I think we've done, put in a lot of hours and done a a really good job of that. So it's been a great start to the year. It has been so much fun to watch our fall sports compete and see winter sports getting started. We've had so many big things happen this semester, whether it's conference championships or CCA tip-off classic, or, you know, setting history with our first women's cross-country runner competing in championships. It's just been busy, busy, busy in all the best ways, and we are very excited to be sending volleyball off to championships again this year in South Dakota. As you said, it feels like fall sports might not ever end, but playing fall sports in December is truly a privilege, and one that we've really appreciated every day.
Yeah, crossover season's a term you don't know unless you're in it, but it becomes fun when you're actually in it.
Yes.
And I imagine for you, when you were going through the process of, yes, I would love this opportunity, following your predecessor in Lisa Goddard McGurk, I think it takes a special kind of person to really want to be involved in what is the chaos, a good chaos, but the chaos of college athletics. Was that something that when you were going for the job, you were interested in wanting to become at a different part of this athletic department? You've been here a while. Is that something that excited you, just that type of crossover season, the excitement, the busyness? I'm sure it's something that you get excited about, though.
Yes, I do. I say all the time, this is why we do it. So you're exhausted, you're working around the clock, you're here every day, but our student athletes are here to compete. Our coaches are here to compete. They are here to represent the university, represent their program. They play with so much pride. They coach with a lot of pride. And crossover season is why you do it. And that postseason is why you do it. And if you can't get excited about that and love it, then you really have to kind of take a step back and ask why you're doing this. But for me, watching our teams progress through the postseason, watching them win regionals on their home court, win a long-awaited conference championship on our home field. I mean, those moments are what fuel you through all of the exhaustion. And I think we all experience that, and we live for that. And I just get so excited for our student athletes and for our coaches when they have those moments, because no matter how strong your team is, they're never guaranteed. And you work and you work and you work all season and all year, really, for our student athletes and our coaches for those moments. And so when we get to be a part of them and experience that with them, for me, that is the best every time. It doesn't get any better. And I think you could even sense that energy in our whole department, in our administrative team, that as much as it is around the clock and it's exhausting and it's chaotic, the energy is just so different, and it's really, really fun to be a part of. So I was incredibly honored to have the opportunity to step in this role, and felt so fortunate again to be doing it with many colleagues who I've known for such a long time, both in our department and across the university. And so it's just been a really wonderful start.
And everyone has an equal amount of investment and excitement, and it means the same to all of us. So let's reminisce on some of the big moments from the fall, Megan. We could take hours to do that, but let's start with the team that, as of this recording, and we intend to be on this, is in the NCAA Elite Eight, and what seems to be just a yearly check mark. It's not that easy. But Coach Matt Darling and the women's volleyball team always feels like they're either right there or they're at this point. They win the regional last weekend. We hosted it. It was a wonderful sight in the new Highmark Event Center. You know, the energy in that building, I think, even had a different feel to it, with it being the new renovated building. And the fact that, and Coach Darling would admit this was a team that he was trying to feel out early in the season. A lot of young talent coming in from a lot of seniors that graduated last year. Just an incredible run to what they've been able to do.
Yeah, it is so exciting to see that team, the way that they've gelled together, the way that they've progressed throughout the season. I think, as you said, it almost feels like a check mark now for volleyball, that, you know, win the regional, on to the next. But it's because they make it look easy. It's not easy, but they sure make it look easy. And I give so much credit to Coach Darling and to all the student athletes on that team, but especially the upperclassmen. I think they've done such a nice job of bringing the new student athletes into their team, into their program culture. And the way they played this past week was just, you could see that they were locked in, and I could see that focus. And from when they first started on Saturday, I think everybody in that building just knew they had it. They were in complete control the entire time. They had a really good energy. And I credit, again, Coach Darling and the upperclassmen on that team, I think, for preparing our new and young team to really be ready to handle those moments. So I'm excited to see them in South Dakota coming up here in just 2 days. Hard to believe it's upon us that quickly, but as you said, it feels like a check mark. I keep trying to remind everybody, they make it look easy, but it's not easy. And all the credit to them to making it to the Elite Eight.
And what's
Very
amazing
impressive
to me is the youngness of the team, was the response they had, specifically on Friday, right? And dealing with the resiliency. You lose the first set in pretty brutal fashion to UPJ, and it wasn't competitive the rest of the match, and then you sweep IUP the rest of the way on Saturday. So excited for them. Coach Darling, any year that he is the head coach of Gannon Volleyball, they're going to be right here or even further in the Elite Eight. Speaking of Elite Eight, we just got done with men's soccer and their run to the Elite Eight. And, you know, this to me is an early front runner, Megan, for the story of the year in Gannon Athletics. There are a lot of them, no doubt. We're going to talk about another incredible one coming up in just a minute. This team was 2-2-2 at the end of September, and Coach Colton was very outspoken about how it was one of the roughest months he's ever had as a head coach. Can this team gel together? Can the team chemistry work? Can these young student athletes make it happen? And then they go on their huge winning streak and they win the PSAC and they get to the Elite Eight. What was that moment for you when you're standing at McConnell Family Stadium and watching the history being made on that PSAC championship game?
Yeah, so I told everyone who was standing there for conference championships, I said, I'm going to cry either way, whatever the outcome is. You know, I've known Coach Colton since his first day here on campus as an assistant coach. And as you said, it was a challenging start to the year for them in a lot of ways and not going exactly the way he wanted to. And again, I give so much credit to him and his staff and the upperclassmen on that team. I mean, Sevi and Shota have just been incredible leaders for that program. Of course, we have Freshman of the Year and Enzo. We've got a really great group, but we're trying to find their footing a little bit there for a minute. And again, I give that entire group so much credit for having difficult conversations, working through that together, really staying focused on what their goal was, and to be there in that moment and to sort of like feel it coming when we knew it was going to happen. It was just, you know, a top moment, I'm sure, for that entire group, and a top moment for me really in my time here as an administrator, because that particular conference championship has been long awaited, and we've been so close, and for it to come to fruition this year on our home field was just unbelievable. And then for them to make that deep run in the postseason, when early in the year we were talking about, you know, are we going to be in the field, right? And to be questioning if we would even be in the field, but then for them to make it to the Elite Eight, I know they wanted to keep playing and wanted to have a couple more game opportunities, but I think, as you said, when we reflect back, this will be a wonderful sort of like hallmark season for that program, and something that we are already very proud of and will be proud of for quite some time.
It's historic, and it's also what Coach Colton described as a couple of weights lifted off the back. The PSAC championship, and then 2 games later beating Franklin Pierce, a team that we saw last year here up 2-0 and end up losing that game 3-2. So just an incredible season. And you mentioned Sevi and Shota. Sfera Orton, who is going to get so many honors he already has. He's going to be an All-American. I think to be able to see what that team did coming really from the ground up, that foundation's great. And like Coach Darling, as long as Coach Billy Colton's here, this is going to be a team that will compete for a national championship year in and year out. Let's transition to national championships, because we had history made twice in this past women's cross-country season. Emily Bowers is just a sophomore, but my God, she runs like she's been doing this for 30 years. She wins the PSAC, first ever Gannon female cross-country student athlete to do so, and she qualifies for national championships. I was there, and it was incredible, Megan, just to get to see, A, the support she had here at home, B, the support she had in Wisconsin. But she runs the race, and it's almost like she didn't expect, but she was meant to be there. Like that was her natural moment. She told me afterwards, she said, little Emily never would have expected that I would be in this position, and here she was. Take me through what that meant, just to get to see that historic moment from your eyes.
You know, Emily is a wonderful person, a really strong student athlete. I think she's really been very central to our cross-country program in a lot of ways, even as a sophomore. You know, won the conference, as you said, second overall in the region.
And almost won, it was half a second difference.
Unbelievable. And she is so unassuming. She's incredibly humble. She's very kind. If anybody didn't listen to her post-race interview that Isaac was referencing, I would really encourage you to go do that. I think that again, a good pick me up when you need it to remember why we're doing this. But I think it's also a testament to what Coach Ahrens has done during his time here. Just in a couple years, he has really been able to, I think, identify some talent to bring into our program to help us get to that next level, but also to cultivate the talent that we already had here and build a really strong program culture. And I think that's where you saw that really high level support at the national championship, that we had student athletes making the trip to Wisconsin, really wanting to be there to support their teammates. And that was all just such a great story and very exciting. I think a very good indicator of where our cross-country program is heading and where Coach Ahrens and those student athletes are going to go next, because they are really moving up in the conference and in the region, and really excited to see what they do next. But such an incredible moment for our institution.
It would not shock me if next year we see multiple runners at cross-country championships next year. This program is flying quickly and fast. We had a lot of historic moments. We had some records broken as well, specifically 2 of them in back-to-back weekends in the pool. You could make the argument that Alexandros Kotskar is the greatest Ghana men's water polo player that's ever come through this area, and he led what was an incredible, great season for this water polo team. They would have loved to have won WWPA championships, but Megan, when you look back on earning the #1 seed, the wins over Salem, which had been the powerhouse in the WWPA, the records that Alex sent, and us getting to host championships at Spire, a pretty great year for head coach Zarko Sadakovic and the water polo team as well.
Absolutely. And men's water polo, again, has been really establishing themselves in a new conference. We transitioned to the WWPA just a couple years ago, and that's a highly competitive conference. But to be able to compete with all of our Division II institutions in men's water polo, to end up finishing 3rd against some teams in the West that were incredibly strong this year, very excited about that. As you said, Alex Kotskar is, just an incredible student athlete and has definitely left his mark on our program here. That team overall, I think, again, has meshed really well together. They found ways to win. They found ways to score all season, really. Bator Mahoxie was excellent in goal in our conference games specifically, and he's only a sophomore. He's got 2 more years ahead of him, so we've still got Bator coming back, and he was a very strong candidate for Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year in the conference. So future is bright for them as well, and being able to host, I think, was just made it even that much more exciting. We were out at Spire Academy, which is an incredible facility, and I think being able to show, especially some of our West Coast counterparts, that we know water polo over here on the East Coast too, and we are going to be pretty competitive, and they should keep looking over their shoulder. We're right on their heels, and so excited to see what's ahead for them too.
Just because it snows doesn't mean that we can't be competitive. There's indoor pools available. It's not just out. I mean, we'd love to have 80-degree weather and sunny, but that's the way it goes around here, and we're here for it. And of course, we mentioned a lot of the fall sports, other sports as well. Women's soccer once again making the NCAA tournament. Men's golf with a strong finish at conference championships, and we expect that they're going to be very competitive in the region. Meanwhile, football had multiple players that were named to the All-PSAC team and had a huge ranked win at home over Slippery Rock earlier this season. Let's look ahead to the winter that's already started, Megan, because we're already a month and a half in. I want to get your thoughts first and foremost on the D2CCA Tip-Off Classic, which kind of kicked off the winter season. A tournament that had been years in the making. We had so many great ranked teams coming to Gannon and Edinburgh co-hosting it with us. Really a wonderful way to kick off the winter, and I think a tournament that just showcased how great basketball is around this area.
Absolutely, and I think the turnout from the local community was incredible. We're so excited for basketball to be back in Erie. We always get a great crowd, but I was really impressed with how our women played that entire weekend. I mean, 3 back-to-back days, incredibly competitive teams, very physical games, and for them to win 2 of the 3 and to be so close in that game on Saturday, I just was really impressed with their gameplay that weekend, and excited to be able to host that and get get everybody back in basketball mode and ready for a big year ahead. So that was a really fun way to kick things off.
You look at the basketball teams right now, combined 15-2 as we record this podcast here. Men's basketball back on Saturday. You have the men ranked 17th in the country. The women are currently 6th. And when you look at these two teams, every year they're always competitive, right? Women, of course, winning the region for a second straight year, going back to the Elite Eight. Men's basketball, meanwhile, coming up one game shy of the Elite Eight. They had a great run in the regional. Both these teams are ready again to have another great year, and they've already started doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, super fun to watch. It's been really great to see their years getting started and excited. We had the women at home a lot early in the season, but now we're going to start seeing the men at home more. It was great to open with the Gary Miller Classic. I think very dominant performances in the Gary Miller, and really fun to get things started. I think we're all expecting big things from them in conference and in region, and just excited for them to keep moving. They have a lot of season left ahead of them, but you can see the focus and you can see the energy in them, which is really exciting.
And looking ahead, more winter sports on the horizon as well. Men's and women's wrestling. Women's wrestling's already been home. They had a great game in women's duels, and Coach Aaron Vandiver has an incredible squad that's going to compete for a national championship. Men's wrestling 5th in the country right now, Megan. Both of these teams have national championship aspirations, and I don't think they just think that. I think they believe it, and they have the teams to make it happen.
Yes, absolutely. You know, men's wrestling, I think, has been incredibly strong to start the season. As you said, preseason, and currently ranked 5 overall. I mean, they're just off to a really strong start and excited about sort of what second half of this season is going to look like for them. We hosted our first women's event couple weeks ago, back in November. I was there to watch, and I told Coach Vandiver after that I was so impressed with the women's team and how they were sort of managing the meet overall and keeping their energy up and supporting each other and working together, and they just had such good energy. When Lily won her weight class,
cool to see.
like she is just such a motivator for that team. So just really excited for what's ahead for both of them. As you said, I think national championship aspirations and certainly within their reach. So looking forward to what the rest of the season holds for them, but they are off and running for sure to start.
Yeah, a couple of other sports that will get underway in the coming months with women's water polo, acrobatics and tumbling, competitive cheer and dance, but not to exclude swimming, because I don't know if you've been noticing, but Maria Melnick is about 2 records away from setting every pool record again, and at least it feels like she has had a great start to the year. And, you talked to Milan Mato, the head coach for both of these teams behind closed doors. I think there's a real belief that they're going to have multiple people at national championships this year, Megan, and they certainly have the team to do it. Maria and others have been great so far this season. Yeah,
I think, you look at the team scores, you see the men consistently performing well. Maria certainly brought a spark into the women's side, but the women have been performing incredibly well. Our first meet against Clarion, a top in Clarion in all the swimming events. They had diving, so no diving points for us, but it was super close, and we would have ended up winning that meet on the women's side if it were strictly swimming. So I'm really excited. I think they're off to an incredible start. Again, highly motivated. I think Coach has a really strong training plan for them to have them peaking at the right time, to your point. And so very much looking forward to conference and beyond conference this year to see sort of what's in store for them, but a really good energy in that group as well.
No doubt, winter sports going to be a great follow-up from the fall. And I want to end with this, Megan. We use the term student athlete, and we mean that very deliberately, that student are first. The academic success has been well documented as well. The awards for postseason will come out in a few weeks, but just to get to see the success in the classroom, we presented PNC Achievers in the fall. There are so many other athletic and academic awards that we give out. These athletes are just as good, if not better, in the classroom as they are on the field of competition, and that's really cool to see.
Absolutely. We'll see when the final grades come in, but certainly expect strong performance in the classroom. We had 2 PSAC Scholar Athlete of the Year in men's soccer's Troy Prescott-Miller, in volleyball's Carissa Tresser, which is very exciting. So we had those recognitions. I don't think I'm missing anybody. I think it was those 2 this fall. So great recognition for them. Looking forward to getting those final grades, but also really excited. We've entered the Division II Helper contest this year, where we've simply just been recording the community service hours that we always do every year. Last I checked, we were ranked in the top 10 of all Division II institutions for service hours so far this year, which we're really excited about. That's ending in a week or two here, so we'll see how we stack up against some other institutions. We've already raised nearly $7,000 for Make-A-Wish Foundation, which, as anybody who's been listening to the podcast knows, is a cause near and dear to our hearts. So really proud of our student athletes for their commitment to Make-A-Wish this year. So lots of good things happening and more good things ahead. So I hope everyone has really enjoyed following the fall sports teams and seeing a lot of those exciting moments, and hope that we'll be seeing many more people at our games throughout the next couple months here to support our student athletes and cheer them on and be part of those big moments for them.
It's been a great start to her career as the athletic director for Meghan Morphy, and we're thankful for her joining us on the show for a few minutes tonight. Yeah, exactly what she said. We echo here. An exciting fall season, but many more great moments ahead, and we can't wait to see all of you out at some of our athletic events in the coming weeks as we roll into the Christmas break. And then after Christmas, basketball back in town, wrestling will be home, both men and the women will be home in short order in the month of January. Swimming's home as well in the middle of January. And yeah, oh, by the way, we have not really talked about acrobatics and tumbling, competitive cheer and dance, and women's water polo, all who will begin their season late January, early February. So we're jam-packed with great sports student athletes who are going to do incredible things, as we've already seen this 2025-2026 season. All right, let's go ahead and round out our show tonight with the top 5 plays of the week. Got a good list for you to end our fall/winter portion of the podcast season. Let's count it down for you, our top 5 plays. And we'll start on the way with number 5 on our top 5 plays of the week, and this goes to the semifinal of the Atlantic Regional. This is all from the Atlantic Regional, by the way, since we hosted that. When she gets in game, she makes it count. The right-hand hammer and the termination of that. Gannon, it's not the only play we'll see from that semifinal game. Here comes another one at number 4 in the countdown. That's the block party. Lauren Atwell up there with the freshman Carly Weber to reject that ball away. This is really where Gannon started to make their hay. They lost the first set to UPJ. They didn't lose another set after that in the entire regional. And Atwell, an AVCA All-American honoree, she's so deserving of that. Speaking of Atwell, here's number 3. A little cross-body kill from her shot in the catwalk. Very difficult to defend her when she's on the run. Right down Broadway she goes, and she'll be another big part of next year's success. This is a great, incredible team, of course, that made the Elite Eight. Here's number 2. This is Bangasu Arslan. She's known for her assists, but sometimes she just likes to pop it over on 2, and that was the case there. Little on 2 action from the shifty setter as she no-look makes that happen too, by the way. That's another big part of this whole equation, is that she doesn't even have to see where she's putting it. She knows it's going where she wants it to go. That's number 2. But at number 1, it is the point that sent Gannon to the Elite Eight. And here, Yazajolu, the serve. Gannon forces the tip on one side, and on the other side, Sydney Wake, who had herself an incredible second half of the season, gets the kill, and the celebration begins. And what a moment it was for the Golden Knights, and they're so emotional, as you would expect, putting on that logo to send Gannon to the Elite Eight. And yeah, their season didn't end how they wanted it to today, but just an incredible way for Gannon Volleyball to really cap off a great fall portion of the season, and one that will be remembered for a long time. You know, we've been so lucky all fall long and the beginning of winter long to be with you here in the United Podcast and to share some of the great stories, moments, interviews, funny moments, dishes, top plays, and more here on this United Podcast. So as we take a short break for the winter, we want to encourage you to continue following Gannon Athletics throughout the entirety of our winter season. We're going to go through December, of course. Beginning of January, we'll have so many more home events. And make sure to stay in touch. We're active on social media all the time, on Instagram, on YouTube, on X, on Facebook. Some of our teams with TikTok accounts as well. Make sure to give us all a follow. You can find social media info on our website, GannonSports.com. Speaking of GannonSports.com, you can continue to follow the Golden Knights wherever and whenever you want to at GannonSports.com. We have all the information you want, and all the fun little tidbits, nuggets, and social media creative segments are on our website as well. Our next show comes your way in January. We take a bit of a 3-week break. We end the fall semester. We get ready for the winter and get ready for another exciting few months stint through January and then through May. And we will be back with you in the month of January, specifically Thursday, January 8th, where we'll be at John Russell Brewing Company up on Peachtree. It's another great location, part of the UPick6 family and the John Russell Hospitality family that we haven't been to yet. So we're going to debut that for you coming up in January. So January 8th, Thursday at 6 o'clock, we will see you at John Russell Brewing Company for the second part of our podcast season as we hit the ground running in the middle of the winter season and then start gearing up into spring as well, because that will come before you know it. We hope you have a wonderful Christmas break. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to you and yours. We're so thankful that you're part of our podcast family each and every single week, and we wish you the best as you continue throughout the holiday season. May everyone have a wonderful next few weeks. Enjoy Christmas, some time with family and friends. Stay safe on the roads. And as always, go Knights. We'll see you for this podcast on January 8th. Everybody take care.